Okay, so if you watch my YouTube video or purchase a template and receive the video on how to do a backdrop in Publisher, I want to show you how I do one in Photoshop. So when I come into Photoshop, I can create a new excuse me, 96 by 96. That's your 8 by 8. And again, with these, in Photoshop, you can actually select the resolution. I'm going to choose a 72 resolution. RGB is fine for viewing on screen. I'll show you what I do when I print it. And I'm going to go with a transparent background. If you don't see the option, just scroll down. It's right there. So this is going to be an 8 by 8. You can change it in inches here if you wanted a different size, like 4 by 6, 8 by 10, etc. So I'm just going to go ahead and create that. So you'll notice that my computer will run pretty slow. It's going to run a little slower than normal if you're doing a large document, but 72 DPI, fortunately, it shouldn't run too slow. So you have 8.33% here. Um, that's your zoom. So it's pretty small. Remember what I said if you watched the publisher video. If you have not, you want to make sure you always zoom in at 100% to see it. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to recreate this backdrop that I made in Publisher, and we are going to do it in Photoshop. So first things first is I'm going to fill this background. So one thing you can always do is you can create a new layer, but I'm just going to go ahead and fill it. I'm going to grab my paint bucket tool and I'm going to go with black as the background. And let me show you guys what we're going to get to the end result as close as possible. It's going to look a little different since it's in Photoshop, and Photoshop is a little more capabilities than a Publisher, but I will show y'all the image. My computer's already moving a little slow. So if you encounter this when you guys are doing your items, please just be patient with Photoshop, as this is a large document already. It's at 136 megabytes, and there's not even anything on it. If I were using my Mac, we'd be a little better off, but I'm doing the PC version here, so because as Macs do not have Publisher on them. All right, so that layer is black. Okay. Um, what I want to do is I want to insert a shape. Go to my shape tools over here, grab out my shape, kind of carve it out. And you can always change the properties, like it will come up as property. You can change how big it is up here. So we want it to be about 96 inches wide. And I'm just right clicking to get inches. And I'll do about 48 inches high, because that's half and half, like we did, like I did on my other one. So I'm just going to bring it down, kind of snap it in there. And here's what we're going to create. Okay, so I'm a little backwards, as this should be red. That's fine. So it defaulted to my foreground color. So I'm going to go back to my shape tool, and I'm going to change the color of it. Fill, we'll do a nice bright red right here. And what I'm going to do is I am noticing that it's still a little gray up there, but we're going to fix that. So I'm going to go ahead and type out with my fonts, happy birthday. Happy birthday. Okay, excuse my singing. I'm gonna make this a little larger, because if you notice, it's probably about 2 point, or it's at 60 point. That's way too small. So let's go ahead and just increase that. I use my move tool instead of going over and adjusting the height here. So now I'm at 1,000. That's fine. Remember, you're going to have a very large font size when you're doing something this big. You're not going to be able to see 60 font on a 86, or excuse me, a 96-inch document. Like, that's just going to be like tiny. So I need to grab this, run it off the page because it's really big. And let's make this smaller. Let's make this about 180. Still tiny, but that's okay. And we're going to change the font. And again, remember, we're at 8% zoom, so we're not even at 100 yet. But I'm going to change the font to that Lego thick font that I have and found and downloaded off of the computer, or off of the Google. I think I use Urban Fonts as the font website. I call it the Google, the internet. So Lego thick. All right, awesome. So there's my font. I'm going to increase this to about 400. I just want to be able to see a little better. Okay, great. So what you'll notice is that we have a black font right now. What we had on our other one was white. So I'm just going to go ahead and color this as white. Let's pick up white here. You could do, you know, FFFF, whatever. All right. So I'm going to add the exclamation mark. And I'm going to manipulate this a bit because I'm not loving it. So I'm going to bring it in and yeah, there we go. So the cool thing about Photoshop is if I wanted to paint the inside of this text, I absolutely could. I'm not going to do that right now. That's something that, you know, if you need one-on-one Photoshop tutorial or publisher, you can always contact me and we can get you set up with that. So I'm loving that, but I need to go back and grab that logo that we use. So I already have it saved. I just searched Lego logo PNG, but I didn't find a PNG that I like. So I'm using this one. If you were um, in Publisher, I'd have to take it out. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to go File. You can do File Place Embedded or File Place Link. And you can always just drag and drop. I prefer a drag and drop, but I'm going to do this. And this is the start of our Lego theme. So I think I just double clicked on something I didn't want to use. I did. I'm moving faster than my computer, and that's okay. Let me go ahead and just bring it in. Because with Photoshop, I'm able to just take the background out very quickly. And I'm going to deconstruct this photo. I'm going to put destructive erasing properties on it because it's just a background and I know I'm not going to need to use it. It's not, you know, if it was a person or something like that, I maybe would actually like use a vector or layer mask. But so here we go. I'm going to go ahead and bring this in. And what I'm going to do is I'm just going to take my eraser tool and I'm going to back. You're going to notice that it placed it as a smart object. That's fine. You need to rasterize it to destruct it. I'm going to take it out. Take out that red background. It's gone. Take out that black square around it. Easy breezy. So now I just am left with this. And I'm going to pull this over about right there. Yep. So that looks pretty good. What I'll do next is I'll go ahead and group these two together. Link them. And I'll just group them and call this, you know, step one. Now what I'll do is I'll go ahead and I'll just copy it. I'm going to duplicate this layer, or this group, actually, the entire group. You can rename it as you please. I'm just going to come over and just duplicate it. And I do it like this instead of like, because you can always do, you can transform it, you can copy it. There's a variety of ways you could do a step repeat. I just do a duplicate layer because that's what I prefer. So I'm going to go ahead and distribute this out. It's only selecting, you see, I need to select the full group, not just one layer in the group. So I'm going to go ahead and collapse that, select the entire group, and distribute the horizontal centers. And I'm going to spread it out a bit because, yeah, there we go. One of the other things that I want to do is space this out. I'm going to make this smaller because as you see, it does not fit. And always hit enter when you want to place something or apply a change. So that looks better. And of course, in the beginning, I didn't know what font size would be the best. So now that I'm seeing it kind of visually, I can mess around and move it with my move tool. I use my move tool a lot to change things instead of using my text tool. All right, so it's still a little too big for me. Let's go ahead and I'm just gonna I'm gonna size it down again. Because I still need room at the bottom for his photograph and also for more layers of the steps. So Did we all move? All right, so that looks better. Let's see how this is. And you'll feel it kind of snap into place, just like when you were doing your Photoshop. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna select these three. I'm gonna kind of like distribute them evenly. Yep. And also select the rectangle. And I just hold down Shift to select it and just it centered everything off to the side. Um, let's see here. I don't want to center it. So this actually should be about right. Yeah, it looks even. Okay, good. Since I did the first distribute, it's good. What I'm going to do is I'm going to copy this down. I'm going to duplicate this. I'm just going to bring it down. Oops. One thing that is good if you notice you're moving things a lot and you're selecting the wrong layer, I'm going to Control Z and undo that. Control Alt Z will undo twice. Go ahead and lock it. I'm just going to lock this so it doesn't move anymore. See, it's stuck now. And if I want to lock the background layer, I'm going to do the same thing. So nothing will move. Going to duplicate this layer like I just did. And it's already duplicated, so I'm just going to bring it down. Just like if I were doing a copy and paste, it's still right there. And I'm going to bring that. And I'm going to duplicate this one. And yep. I'm just going to come up and duplicate these top ones as well. And if I wanted to, I could group all three of these. You might want to rename your layers. I'm pretty horrible at that. So 1, 2, 3. Let's go ahead and group. Bring that up. 1, 2, 3. And it went into, see that went into my group. Just pull it out. So I'm going to group these three. This will probably drive a lot of people watching me, maybe a little crazy because I'm not keeping my layers organized, but I'll just put that as top step. Do these two together. It's just a good kind of practice to keep it organized. I suck at that. Middle step, and I'm just going to duplicate this whole group right here and bring that down. I only duplicated one. Make sure you select it all. Well, this is that pass through normal. Change my blend mode. That's okay. Keeps trying to only grab just one thing. And if you want, just link everything in there. Alright, cool. There we go. There we go. I'm going to link all that together. And that way when I move it. Uh-oh. Spaghetti-O. Why didn't you guys tell me my happy birthday Lego was off? There he goes. He's back. I'm just going to link these together. Link them. And I'm going to grab this whole group and move it down. There we go. So, looking at that, one thing that I want to do is just kind of make sure we're even here. And you'll feel it snap, like I said. So I'm going to link these two here in the middle step. I'm going to link these two. And again, like I said, you kind of feel it will snap into place. Yep, just did. So that should be about center. And if you want, to just select it and do like center. See, it centered both of them together. So make sure you select the group or the individual layers within the group, the whole thing, these two, and then it's still centering it all because these are like individual layers, so it's trying to center everything. So if you did want to do that, you can merge the group down. I don't like to merge the group down because then I lose like my layers within it. If I were to merge this group right here, you see how it just became one layer. I don't like to do that. So I'm going to leave it as it is. This looks very proportionate to me. It looks very good. This is a little high, this group. So bring that down a bit. Take this group, bring that down just a bit. Okay, so that looks better to me. You can always mess with your alignment and do it to where you don't feel like you have to visualize it so much. All right, so next thing I would do is bring in that Spider-Man we found. I like this Spider-Man a lot. I'm going to go ahead and grab him. Bring him in. Hopefully he comes on over. He's thinking about it. And that's the wrong Spider-Man. I did that again. Sorry, guys. That is not the right one. That one, well, we can actually use that one in Photoshop. I'm going to show you something. This one has a background on him. So sometimes I just like to find a PNG so I don't have to worry about taking out the background, because you see there's a lot of white here. If I were to use my eraser tool, which most people go to in default, it's going to take out a lot of like a layer mask and brushes and come through and select it. So in the point of this video, I'm not going to get into that. If that's something you want to be taught, we can do that at another day and time. Like, I'm going to go back to my downloads where he is and grab him from the actual PNG document that I saved. This one should have no background. You see there, he comes in with no background. So that's the difference in why you want to find PNGs. And how did I find him? I just did a search for Spider-Man, like Spider-Man background, Spider-Man, Lego Spider-Man PNG. Um, you can search on Google for those kind of images and find what you're looking for. You can buy clip art off of Etsy, numerous different ways. So one thing I want to do is I want to bring him forward. So I'm just going to go to Layer, Arrange, and I'm going to bring him, well, he's actually to the back. So you could do that, or he's above everything. So I want to bring him under all of the text. So I want to send him back, not forward. So I usually come here and mess with it. I'm going to collapse these and collapse this. Yep, I'm going to collapse all these. And I think I just dropped my little Spider-Man inside of this middle step group. I sure did. Don't want him in a group at all. And I want him out of there. All right, cool. I'm going to put him outside the group. Like, yeah. So now he's definitely under. All right, awesome. So I'm thinking I want this rectangle. I'm going to unlock that because I want him above the rectangle but beneath the word. So let me expand him out a bit. See how he looks better when he goes like that. So I'm going to expand him out a bit. Just holding the shift key and getting my transforms. If you notice, your transforms when you use your move tool are not showing. Just do show transform controls up here in your options. So yeah, and one thing I kind of want to do with this, happy birthday maybe, I'm going to unlink that, is put, I don't know, I guess it's okay. Let's see if we do, no, he's fine. It's all right. Make him a little smaller though. Right about, oops, excuse me, right about here. Yeah, there we go. All right, so, one of the things that I'm going to do now is I'm going to write over here, Jaden is 3. And so you all see it's pretty easy. It takes a lot less time in Photoshop, fortunately, just because of the capabilities of Photoshop. But you can always get a little deeper with what you're doing. I sometimes like to come and add more effects. Just depends on what I'm working with and what I'm doing. Um, you could write his name down here instead of using Lego font. One of the things I can show you, what I would do in Photoshop is I would use that Lego font. I would change it up a bit if I were doing this in Photoshop instead of Publisher. Um, come on, come on, come on. It's tiny. It's like 18 point So yeah, we don't want that. We definitely want it to be a lot larger. So I'm going to go and select this. And I'm going to make this like 180. Because that doesn't make any sense to be 18 point. Okay, cool. So I'm actually going to make it like 360 or 400. So you guys can see something. Let's go even bigger, 600. All right, so here's Jaden. And one of the things that in this font is like an outline font. So if I want to color it, if I want to make it look like the logo, I'm going to do something different in Photoshop than what I did in Publisher because I'm not liking the Lego image there anymore. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to come on and grab this, which is just white. Or actually I'm going to grab, I'm going to grab white and I'm going to get my paint bucket tool and I'm going to color it in. So this is how you change the color of, say, like all kinds of little, like clip art and different things like that, or patterns and stuff. So one thing you notice I just colored over, which is a good thing for me to show you guys. I just colored over because it's white still, the little inserts. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to make those black before I color white. And it asked me that I want to rasterize it. I did, because I can't manipulate the text like this if it is still in text mode. So I'm going to go ahead, I'm going to just flip these and then I'm going to color it in. See there? Now we're cooking with grease. I feel like the A is still a little off though. I think like I missed a piece of the A. Nope, I did not. Okay, that's fine. I'll flip it again. And I'm going to show you what I'm going to do to make the black stand out even more. I'm going to put a little stroke on it. There we go. Awesome. And then I'm going to put a stroke on the outside of Jaden. So I'm just going to go down here to effects. And you can also right click on the layer. Double click it. I'll just go down to effects at the bottom of my layers panel. I'm going to put a stroke and the size of it, will get bigger. So we're going to imitate the Lego logo, essentially. Okay. This font is a little thicker than what I would like to see. So maybe what I'll do with my stroke is put on the inside. Just trying to gauge if I like this font now that I've colored it in. Sometimes that happens, and I might put a little too much color. No, we'll go with center, outside. All right, so it's a little bit of much color on here, but that's okay. And I'm gonna convert this to a smart object. You could do a drop shadow, but I'm just gonna make my life easier. And if you ever want to still see what you did, just duplicate the layer and hide it. Because once you make it a smart object, it's over. Like, I'm gonna make it a smart object. This I can add like a double stroke pretty quickly without doing drop shadow and all kinds of other effects on it. I'm gonna come in here and I'm just gonna put another stroke on this and I'm gonna make it yellow. Pick that yellow color up from Lego. Right there. There it is. Yeah, cool. Make it a little thinner. Awesome. Looks good. Alright, so that's what I would do honestly, before I were to mess with it. I would take this instead of using Lego. I would use his name. And one thing, when you size it down, you might see the proportions change up a bit on your strokes. That's okay. Just go back and change it. If you ever want to keep the same proportions, just do it as a raster image. So what I could do is I could go through here and just delete all these out where it says Lego logo and just kind of put him here. See? And what I would do probably in Photoshop is make this Lego logo, unlink it, and I would just pull one up and probably just put one like over somewhere just so people can see the little Lego logo. Like, and another thing, I don't ever get into issues like copyright and stuff like that. That's more so for you guys to come up with and deal with on your own. because of course I don't own any of these images or anything like that. So I'm just going to go through and delete these, and you could just select them. Well, they're all linked, so I have to unlink them. Just going to delete it out. Yeah, so to you how you want to create your items. I'm just showing you a few different options you have, and you can make things like this. You don't always need Photoshop if you're using Publisher. There are definitely free resources for you to use, but I like to use Photoshop to do most of my design work in, for my party favors, just because it's so simple and easy for me to use. I know that this is what I've worked with, so a lot of people don't necessarily want to use this, and that's fine. Just use what makes you feel comfortable. But for those of us who love Photoshop, I'm so thankful to be able to give this video to you, and for your support watching, or supporting me as far as purchasing the template and the mock-up. So do the same thing, and I would just do that throughout there. I'm just going to copy this, make sure it's like kind of distributed evenly. There we go. And I'm gonna duplicate these layers. I'm gonna bring those down here, and like along that. And I'm gonna do the same thing, just grab two more and duplicate these. So again, I'm not keeping my layers neat. You might want to go back and organize your layers so you can see it better, but I don't have a bad habit of doing that, of not doing that. So yep, there you go. So see how everything is kind of like jumbled? Go ahead and get that back in order if you want. Now what I would do, so I deleted out my Lego logo, which is fine. I can always just go and grab it again and bring it in, but I'm not sure if I want to use that on this one. What I'm going to do is I'm going to type the number 3 here on this backdrops, and I'm going to show you guys how I would make it Spider-Man text. Let me make this huge, like I said, about 400. Doesn't want to let me be great right now. Let's delete these layers because there's no text on it. There we go. This is the layer 3. It came in at 18.94. And this is my character panel. When you do text, you'll have this little folder. If you don't see it, just hit that and you'll have it. So let me delete this out. Let's just start all over again with text tool, text, 403. All right, awesome. There he is. So I'm actually going to make this even bigger, about 800. Look how tiny that is. Isn't that funny? But we're not going to use this font. Let's go grab our font we want to use. And here he is, 3. Okay, so this font doesn't seem to have numbers, and that's fine. Let me go up to my window, get my glyphs. Sometimes when you get a free font, there are no numbers. There may not be a lot of characters with it, so just be mindful of that. Yeah, so because they want you to buy the full version. So it looks like he does not have any numbers on this font. That's fine. I could put in a number 3, but I'll just go ahead and put Jaden as 3 like we did on the other one. And see, there's a lot of extras, and that's just under your glyph window. So you might want to check that out. Jaden. And make sure you do caps, because the caps with this font, certain fonts have different features. Like the caps is the one that's colored in. All right, so you see how my text just kind of wrote over itself? I was pressing enter. And one thing I like to do is I like to do my text line by line, but this case I'm going to do it all as one. You see my spacing here? I need to space that out about 72. In the wrong layer. That's okay. Come on, Photoshop, reset. There it goes. Now it reset itself. So now, you saw I was still saying it was number 3 down there. It kind of caught up. I'm gonna do this at 72 point. Come on, Photoshop. Sometimes I just like to click out, come back in to it. Again, this is a pretty large document, so just bear with patience. Hopefully you may have a faster computer or something where you don't have these issues. So you see here, see how it's like really close because it's at 44 point on the paragraph. So I need to adjust this. Leading is too tight. And it's thinking. Well, as it thinks, I'm gonna delete this out. And we're gonna do it again because it does not want to cooperate. So I'm just gonna delete that layer. I'm gonna retype it. But I'm gonna set it here to be 80. So in that way when I go to type, it's already in there. Caps lock is on. Jaden. 80 is too tight. Let's do 200, considering that this is 800 font. Jaden is 3. So I typed it out. I don't necessarily like the leading on this, so I'm going to select it and I'm going to fix it up. Also, you see it's left aligned. You can do center up here. You can do center right here in properties. So let me just select it. It's being real funny right now, you guys, because this is a big document. We're at 337. I'm going to align it. I'm going to change it now to 200. And it should readjust itself eventually. We want it to. It's still thinking, so I'm just going to let it rest and get its time together. So considering the size of this document, I really didn't like what I had to do to kern it and to get the leading together. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to type it out individually. I like to do this a little more often because it's easier for me to manipulate the words, and if I wanted to have like different fonts, I can do it a little easier this way. So here we go. See how much easier that was for me to type it out separately, and each word is its own layer. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to come here and I'm just going to kind of grab these 3 little words here, and I'm going to grab all the layers, just select them, and I'm going to center them. I'm going to distribute them evenly. Now what I can do is I can move it. See, that was so much easier, right? So one of the things is I don't like this color. So if I wanted to change the text color, I could come over here and I could change the color to the red. You know, that would give me red. But one thing, it looks a little bloody. I also want to pick up this rectangle color is not the same red as Spider-Man's red. So I'm going to change him. And make sure you unlock the layer before you go to change it. I'm going to go to my shape tool and I'm going to fill it. And I'm going to grab this and I'm going to do my paint, my eyedropper. And now he'll be a darker red instead of that bright red color. Yeah, that looks way better, right? Okay. And I'm going to come back up here and I'm going to grab this. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to do the same thing we did on our one in Publisher. And I'm going to make it like beveled out and give it a little mask, like a little Spider-Man web. So let's go to Google and let's search Spider-Man web PNG. That's cool. Or I actually search Spider-Man background. Okay. I actually don't want to do web. I think I want to do Spider-Man background. And it's okay if it's a PNG or not, because all I'm going to do is use this kind of as a either a pattern or a clipping mask. So I just go to images. And I'm just going to scroll through to see if I like anything here to use. So I kind of have like a web text effect on mine. That's pretty cool. I like this one. That looks good. I love this. I think I'm gonna use something different. I like this one a lot. So 600 by 74. I have to be concerned about the resolution. So let's see if we can find something with a high resolution that won't look blurry when we go to print it. And you can always search, and when you search, you can do search settings by high res. Just kind of click through myself. Um, this one actually is pretty nice. I'm just going to copy and save this one. I'm going to save it right there. And I'm going to come into Photoshop, and I'm going to I'm going to bring in that layer that I just saved. So I'm going to do another drag and drop. Let's just do file. It may have some error corruption on it. Place embedded. See if I can bring it in this way. Hopefully it is not. Yep. Photoshop sometimes doesn't allow you to bring it in. That's fine. Let's see if we can view it. If not, let's see if we find another one. Oh, this one's cool. It's only 480. Try to find something with a high res. This looks good. 1920 by 1080. This is actually really nice. Not sure that I like the colors too much, but it's a good resolution. Still trying to see if I can open that other one. Yeah, I don't like that one. It's too dark. What's this? This is good. Let's see if we can save this. Yep, that looks good. I'm gonna come over. All right, still won't open. And that should have saved the new document. So, saving, 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 saving. Let me see if I can drag and drop it in. Thinking, thinking, thinking. Awesome. Okay. So, in order for this to work well, what I'm going to do is I'm going to pull it up. And I'm going to just kind of expand it over. And if I wanted to make it a little brighter, which I do, I can always do that. Brighten it up a bit. Lower the contrast. You know, you can play around with it if you want. That may be okay. It's a little bright. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to do that, and then I'm going to clip it into this. It's up to you if you want to affect any of the, saturation and all that kind of stuff. So I'm showing you guys some options here for yourself, but I'm actually going to delete this out because I don't want to fool around with it too much and get away from the point of the tutorial. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this and I'm going to create a clipping mask, and I'm going to clip it into Jaden. So you see that? how I went in there. Let me zoom in for you. And I'm going to clip this in there too so it's brighter. And one of the things I'm going to do with Jaden's name up here is I'm going to kind of make it more impactful because it's not looking good at all. It's a little dark. So we're going to go ahead and emboss it. Do like some, like that looks better. Let's see if we can do an inner glow on it. That way it will, oh yeah, that looks pretty cool. Right, so the inner glow will change based on the color you choose. See, so, and also blend mode, I think I just don't want that at all because I don't really want to spend time fooling with it. Let's actually go with the yellow because I like that. Yeah. Let's put a stroke on it of white. There we go. That looks way better. Yeah, I like that better. And if we wanted to do white, that actually might look okay. I don't want it to look too deathly. Yeah, or yellow. We'll go with yellow and bring it down a bit. Yeah. All right. So now that all that's done, what I can do is I can duplicate this. And see, this is why I like to do it as a pattern. It's a little easier for me to manipulate, but I'm going to show you guys what most people do. And just come down here. I'm going to delete this out because I don't need this anymore. Just minimize these. And I'll probably just group all these together so that way it's like a group of layers. Spider-Man is still in there. You see how it's all the way out there? Spider-Man is still part of that group. There we go. Just drag him out. And grab all these. And group those. So those will be just like my steps at the bottom. So that's how you would do your step and repeat the bottom way. And a backdrop is just, a step and repeat is just essentially a type of backdrop. You know, it's the style. So I'm going to clip that up there. I'm going to bring this up. I don't even know if I want this brightness anymore. Yeah. And I'm just going to clip that in. And do the same thing and duplicate this. And I'm going to come up and create a clipping mask. And I'm going to copy these. I'm going to right click on the name, copy the layer style. I'm just going to select it, hold shift, or control shift. I'm on my PC and PCs are different from Macs. And do paste layer style. I don't want it on here. So I'm going to clear it out from this one. And you should be able to see it in just a second. There it is. Not knowing if I like the yellow anymore, but yeah, you guys can figure out how you would want to do it. You know, maybe I would come back and change the stroke to white. White might be a little harsh, but this is essentially how I would do this. And then kind of just play with it from there. Yep. And if you did change it, you just come back and you can just, you know, copy it again, layer style, and paste it again across all of them. So, a variety of different things to do. Let's see. If I want this to be a little deeper, see that? How it changed up. And one of the things you can do is you can go and view now, you know, as you go along, I will encourage you to view it at 100%. So you'll see our little guy's a little fuzzy. He's a rough little cut. Somebody made that. This is how you're going to look up close. So you see, you can see the web. You know, you can see the web detail, you see that chisel there. But what I'm going to do as well is I'm going to make this, our pattern, a little smaller. I'm going to zoom out a bit to 8, back again to 8. I'm going to make this tighter so I get more of the web detail. And then I'm going to show you all how it looks now. You could even keep Spider-Man's eyes in there if you wanted. Or you could move them away. Actually looks pretty cool, Spider-Man's eyes right there. So, I'm going to come back and I'm going to do 100. I'm going to show you guys the difference. So you see how I see more of the web now than I did before, and it's tighter. Looks better. But I don't like how hard that the depth of that bevel is. So, you know, if this were a final product again, I'll just kind of go over with a fine tooth comb and just kind of look at it, see what looks best for you and how you will want to do everything. And yeah, you know, this would be one of the options of um my backdrop. I'm just gonna bring this down and copy this and paste it across because I don't like this yellow too much. Needs more white to me. And I would even, like I said, just come in kind of make these smaller so that it's a tighter web showing. It's not all stretched out. Make sure I just took it completely away because I was up top thinking that was the one for Spider-Man. But nope, that's the one for Is. And the one for Spider-Man's down here. So this is why I like patterns a little more because I can do, like, I can scale them and I can mess with them better. But showing you all this way because a lot of people do this. And this is how you would get those rose gold fonts or glitter fonts. You can definitely do it this way. I don't, but this is the way you can do it. Don't like those eyes there on this one, so I just kind of gonna move it around a bit. Yeah, so that looks pretty cool. I'm just gonna save this. So now, when you go to save it, if you were to print this, you want to do image mode CMYK. You want to send it off for CMYK. You don't want to print it as an RGB. It's not going to come out right. The colors are going to be off. So if I were to save this, I would change the image mode to CMYK. And I would do image mode CMYK. I don't want to merge it. I don't want to lose my layers. I don't need to rasterize it. I'm just going to leave everything that's a smart object, etc., etc. You could if you wanted to. You're not going to lose your layers if you do that. All right, so now that that's changed, I'm going to go ahead and do File, Save As. And you can save this as a PSD. Most of the times when you go to print this, they'll be fine with the PSD because they'll be able to manipulate the document. So that's pretty cool. So let's save it as Spider-Man backdrop. You can save it as also a PDF if you like. Completely up to you. But I like to save it as a PSD. And what I do to print is I would just go to sticker banners or like Banner Buzz or someplace like that and check out the pricing. You can always just kind of price them out. And you want to do a backdrop. This is a backdrop. Banners are different sizes, and to show you all kind of like a size guide, if your customers are ever confused on what size that you need to guide them, I just go to Google and use like one of the images as a helpful kind of selling technique or tip to give people, because people don't realize how big an 8x8 backdrop can be, or a 6x6 banner, backdrop. They don't understand how large these things are and why it may cost so much money. So you want to be able to give them a visualization of how big something like this, and these are great little tools to use and guides to show your customers. And a banner would be the same way. And usually we print these on vinyl, not on paper, because vinyl is your heavy material. Be able to print it, and they come out so beautifully, so beautiful. I've done backdrops, I've done banners. Sometimes you could do your banners at Office Depot or someplace like that, but your vinyl backdrops and your banners, you can do your custom ones here, and you can do it by size, of course. And you'll notice that the way to price these, you want to incorporate your design price plus the price to print. Maybe pad it up a little bit as far as your design cost and time. And if you have to do setup and delivery, that's a whole nother fee. If you're letting them rent your stand, that's another fee. So you want to make sure you tell your customers, are you prepared to put this up by yourself if you're selling it on Etsy or somewhere and getting it shipped directly from a third party to them? Because they may not understand how much goes into putting up a step and repeat. These are huge. They need a backdrop. They're going to need a stand if they don't have one, and then they have to make sure they have, you have to get the right type of stand if they want you to order it. So like adding a stand is a whole nother $100. For 8x8 vinyl, you need the pole pockets to do top and bottom. So you just want to make sure you ensure that. You just go to checkout, you upload your file from here, right here, choose the file, and they'll send you a proof before they print anything, and they'll let you know if they have any issues. So what I'm going to do is also, just for a mock-up sake, I'm going to save this as a JPEG. Well, I can't save it as a PNG now because it's CMYK. But if I was doing a mock-up, I always want to keep it at RGB because you're on a computer we view in RGB color. When we print, we do CMYK. And so always ensure you print in CMYK, because if not, if you print in RGB, your colors are not going to be the same. So I'm going to just convert it back to RGB. And there it goes. You can notice it's changed when it goes back up there. I'll just do File, Save As, and then do PNG. I'm going to save it. It's going to be pretty large. I'll just do like medium or large. It doesn't matter. Sorry, guys. And as that's saved, I'm gonna go ahead and open up my my backdrop mock-up. I'm gonna open that up with Photoshop. Okay, awesome. So this is what's gonna come up. So essentially, I just need to double click here where it says backdrop artwork. Keep it simple. And I'm gonna turn on a few of these guides because I don't need to see them right now. And I'm just gonna go ahead and bring in my recently saved document. Are we done saving yet? Checking the other side and see if we're done saving yet. Yep, where did I save this? Sorry about that. I don't even remember where I saved it. Pretty sure I saved it as a PNG, right, y'all? Yep, I sure did. It's right there. Up there he is. Didn't see him there. Okay, so I'm gonna grab him. And I'm just gonna bring him in. And there we go. Hit enter to place him. He looks pretty cool. He is getting placed. And now that he's placed, I'm just gonna go File, Save, so that my changes saved to my backdrop. It's done saving. Once it's done saving, it will come over here and you'll see it. So it's be there in just a moment. There we go. This is going to take a bit of time. Remember, it's a very big document. Yours may be a little faster than mine, so thanks for your patience. So there's our final product. I'm going to turn off the guide on this too. I don't need that. And there it is. Something for you to show your customer. So pretty nifty. Thank you all for watching and supporting. I appreciate you so much.